A beautiful night in the Northwest. Temperatures in the mid-60s. Come on inside Bank of America Arena on campus at the University of Washington as Fox Sports Net presents the best in collegiate hoops. Tonight, a Pac-10 showdown. Oh, they don't like each other. It's Washington and Oregon inside Heck-Ed. Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Watts alongside Donald Watts. That 97 game you just saw the finish to. Well, that's typical of this series over the last couple of years. Donald Watts played in 4 of those games, actually 4 years, 8 games against the Ducks. What is it about the Dogs and the Ducks? You guys love to hate each other.
Well, it's fierce competition, not only in this basketball game, but also for recruiting position. You got Oregon guys going to Washington, Washington guys coming out of high school going to Oregon. It's fierce competition. It's always that way this night, and it proved to be the same.
Only a couple of weeks left in the Pac-10 schedule, so when you look at the standings, well, this is an important game. This is moving day for both of these teams.
Yes, if Oregon wins, they can move the top of the division to second place, and if Washington wins, the team that started off the season 0-5 can move to the top half of the Pac-10.
And the visitors from Eugene, pretty good right now, 11-6, 6-4 in the conference, and they are led by one of the best players on the West Coast, maybe in the country. He's a Wooden Award finalist. We're talking about Luke Jackson, leads his team in every single category.
Yeah, when you talk Luke Jackson, you're talking about a kid with big-time game. A lot of people are comparing him. His numbers look very familiar to Arizona star Sean Elliott. He can do it all. He can pass, he can shoot, he stays active, he keeps it moving.
He's one of 5 guys in the country that lead their teams in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. Luke Jackson is a special player. He had a triple-double last time the Ducks won here in Seattle, but the Huskies have won the last 2 here on the shores of the lake. First meeting in Eugene was won by U of O. We're coming back, Dogs and the Ducks on FSN. 9,000 inside Bank of America Arena on campus at the University of Washington. It's the Ducks and the Dogs. Washington, their home whites. And Mike Jensen wins the tip. Oregon in their traveling green and gold.
This game has a different kind of feeling. It has a very high energy, similar to the Arizona game.
Jensen, who likes the mid-range jumper for a big guy, and it's 2-0 Washington. Backcourt pressure by UW, and it's out of bounds. It's a turnover. Now, this is the kind of frenetic pace that Washington likes to play games at. Usually we see it in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Ernie Kent knew about it coming in. He told his guys to settle down, take care of the basketball. First time they touch it, they turn it over.
Washington starting off getting a 15-foot shot from Mike Jensen, just the way Lorenzo Romar wants it drawn up.
Raymond Roy, 14 points a game inside, it's 4-0. More backcourt pressure. Nate Robinson, 4th in the conference in steals, almost took that one away. Other end, Mitch Platt, the freshman, lays it in. Good transition basket for the Oregon Ducks.
That's going to be the fastest way to get Washington out of the full court pressure, is to go make them pay by getting an easy layup.
4-2 Huskies. We are a minute into this game. Bobby Jones, who's been solid all year for Washington, kicks it out to Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson, the amazing sophomore. Look at him pull up, 15-footer, and they're going to wave it off. No basket. You're going to get an offensive foul. Nate Robinson pushing off. You like the call?
I don't like that call. That's a tough call.
Lorenzo Romar, the head coach of UW, he didn't like it. See if he pushes off with the offhand. Watch his left hand.
He kept the hand in and used the shoulder. I like the shoulder bump, as long as you don't extend the arm.
Second turnover of the game. Bobby Jones into the front court for Washington. Will Conroy. Platt had it, lost it. And the ball's on the floor. It usually ends up in the hands of Nate Robinson, who feeds Bobby Jones. And that is what makes Nate Robinson so good, is he can turn things so quickly.
One thing the bigs cannot do is bring the ball down at any time with Nate Robinson out there on the floor. They bring it down around his waist. That's right where he's at, and he'll snatch it from him.
Bobby Jones, 11 points, 5 rebounds a game, second on the team in both rebounds and steals. But when I talked about consistency, this is a guy who's been in double figures in 12 of 19 games so far this year, and he was only double figures 5 times last year. So he's learning, and he's just a sophomore.
He's a guy that Coach Lorenzo Romar asked to be more patient on offense this year, and that patience has turned into more points for him.
How many times did you hear that when you were here? Patience.
Yeah, a lot.
Joseph for a three, and Oregon is the best three-point shooting team in the Pac-10, and Andre Joseph knocks that first look down.
Oregon has gotten 5 points in transition because of the Washington pressure. They've come down and gotten wide open looks, one layup and one three-point basket.
Bobby Jones, it's a two-pointer. He was on the line. He gets knocked down, so he doesn't get the three, and he doesn't get the foul. Ian Crosswhite ran into him, but he makes the shot. Joseph looked inside, gives to Platter, pops out. It's James Davis. He likes to shoot for three. And Jensen with a rebound.
Most people that shot the James Davis shot would be considered a quick shot, but he's one of the, his coaching staff feels like he's the best shooter in the country, so they will live with that.
James Davis came off the bench, scored 19 points against UW in the first meeting down in Eugene, won by 10 by Oregon. Oregon shot lights out that night. 2.5 minutes into this one, 7-5 Washington. Swinging around is Brandon Roy. The pull-up, a little strong. Luke Jackson, first time we've called his name. And Bobby Jones ends up sitting on a photographer on the baseline. It goes over to Oregon. And Nate Robinson plays wall-to-wall and plays all out all night.
Yeah, that was terrific hustle by Nate Robinson. Also, Bobby Jones trying to save it. He stepped on the end line.
As Jackson against Bobby Jones into the front court.
This would be one interesting matchup to watch. Bobby Jones usually matched up against an inside player. See if Luke Jackson can get free tonight.
Picks up his dribble, looks for help. Ian Crosswhite has really raised his numbers of late. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Jackson going to take it to the hole. He misses. Bobby Jones rips it down with some authority, and that's a foul on Luke Jackson. Well, if you can whisper in the ear of Bobby Jones, how do you tell him to guard Luke Jackson?
I would tell him to guard him just like he did on his first possession that he's matched up against him. Bobby Jones plays with a lot of energy. He's got to play with that energy, move his feet. Do not try to steal the ball. If you give Luke Jackson an inch, he'll make you pay.
That was the second personal foul on Luke Jackson, so he's going to go to the bench. Hasn't scored yet. I don't even think he's taken a shot. Nate for three. It wouldn't go. Rebound pulled down by James Davis, and he comes out of the backcourt in a hurry. Gets a little rub from Crosswhite. The kick out. Joseph for three. Does he like to shoot it? Now, 7 times this year, Oregon has had 10 three-pointers in a game. Let me say it again. 10 pointers in a game. 7 times. One game, they had 15 three-pointers in a game.
That's amazing shooting. They're one of the best three-point shooters teams in the country, and already early they've showed you why. They will not hesitate to take the look.
Oregon best in the Pac-10, 3rd in the country from outside the stripe. Oregon into a zone now, going to force Washington to the outside. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Jensen again. For a big guy, he's got a sweet touch. I think he's one of the keys for this run for Washington. They lost to UCLA last time out, but they had won 5 in a row. And I think it's guys like Jensen, that supporting cast, that have come up and really helped this team raise their level. And Jensen's got 4 already. He's the leading scorer for Washington. And UW leads Oregon by 1. It's 9-8, 15:46 to play in the first half. Going to be a long night. Stick around. Luke Jackson not pleased with the way this evening has begun. He's already on the bench. No points and 2 quick fouls. Bobby Jones right in his face.
Yes, Bobby Jones, a terrific on-ball defender. This is what he's out there on the floor for. Started quite a few games last year because of this intensity and this defensive action right here.
That's the only shot that Jackson's had all night. He missed it, and then he fouled Bobby Jones over the back. That's got to be pleasing for Lorenzo Romo over on the bench, because if you can just contain Luke Jackson, you can control Oregon.
The best way to contain him is to have him sitting over there next to his coach, Ernie Kidd.
Now keep him off the floor.
Keep him off the floor.
And Bobby Jones will also go to the bench.
That's why it's so important to get penetration and hustle and fight for rebounds so that you can get fouls on guys, especially their important guys.
And it looks like he stepped out of bounds. There's Jordan Kent.
Jordan Kent, a tremendous athlete. He was a 12-time state champion in track and field in high school, playing for his father.
Coach's kid. 3 turnovers already for Oregon in this game. Trey Simmons in for Washington during the timeout. And the jump stop in the middle by Hakeem Rollins, who also checked in. Loose ball, Rollins chases it over the end line, and it'll be Washington basketball.
Washington has been all over the offensive glass early, getting themselves extra shot attempts along with turnovers. They're getting the offensive rebounds.
Not a good inbounds. Good read by Ian Crosswhite, who battles for it. Look at the 2 big centers at midcourt. Crosswhite went on the floor, but unfortunately for Oregon, he touched the sideline. Good hustle, though, by the big man. You gotta love seeing a 6'11" guy get on the floor over a loose ball.
Mike Jensen has got to step into the guy before he backpedals. He just backpedaled thinking that he could take advantage of his speed over the big guy, but you cannot do that.
Here's Trey Simmons. Roy pulls up in the lane. And back to Simmons. 15 seconds on the shot clock. They go with 3, and that's short. And Nate Robinson on the tap ball.
Coach Kent's not happy with the way his team is rebounding defensively.
And he's got Jay Anderson at the scorer's table, 6'9", looking for more size inside. The pull up and the fade by Brandon Roy. What a game Brandon Roy had against UCLA, 30 points, a career high. And he had 18 in the first game between these two down in Eugene. That was a high for UW. Crosswhite a little confused, didn't want the ball out there. Jordan Kent looks backdoor to James Davis, who gives it to Platt, who drops it, picks it up, and scores.
That's 2 beautiful feeds from James Davis tonight. The Oregon coaches speak about maturity and him having to step up and play the point guard role and how he's become a pass first, shoot second guy. And then you see the example of that right there.
Still a 1-point game, Washington 11-10. And Hakeem Rollins moved both his pivot feet back and in. The official was right on it to call it. Dave Hall, Bill Vinovich, and Ken Diddy are officials tonight. Nate Robinson goes to the bench for Washington. He won't be out long. Will Conroy will come in for Washington next time it's dead. He waits at the scorer's table. Curtis Allen is in right now for UW. He replaced Nate Robinson. Curtis Allen, the only senior on the Washington roster. And he's going to cover James Davis right there with the ball, and that's 2 seniors. There's Anderson, who came in. Joseph looking for 3 for 3 from outside, didn't follow his shot. Simmons walks it into the front court. There's Roy spinning inside against Kent. Lost the ball, went to Rollins. He missed the dunk. Jensen gets it back, and that one stays out. So 2 good looks for UW, and they come up empty. 5-on-4, Oregon going to try to take advantage of the numbers. And now they'll back it out and set the offense. Crosswhite. And that's too strong. And nobody boarding for Oregon at the offensive end. Jensen, the crossover pull-up. He's playing with confidence now, man.
He's playing with a lot of confidence. Something they've been looking for out of Jensen for a couple years now. And the big defensive play.
Curtis Allen wanted to pull up for the 3. Hands it to Trey Simmons. That's only a 2, and it's not close. Hands up on his wallet. No whistle and no iron. And Washington with a huge rebounding advantage, 9-3 right now, and that was something that Oregon dominated in the first meeting as Jensen goes to the bench. Down in Eugene, Oregon out-rebounded Washington by 10 in that game. And I think it's something that Lorenzo Romar's stress coming in because his guys are crashing the glass right now.
A lot of people think rebounding is primarily about size, but you can also rebound with your speed and quickness, and that's what Washington is doing right now. They're not letting the big guys put a body on them.
Brandon Lincoln is in for Oregon. He's a sophomore. And a whistle away, an offensive foul. Jay Anderson, offensive foul away, holding.
I tell you, this game right now really looks like a Washington Husky tempo, Washington Husky basketball game. If you look at the scoreboard, Oregon's only 3 points behind.
Yeah, it was an interesting dilemma for Ernie Kent and his staff coming in, because Oregon likes to run in transition as well, but they know that Washington's a little bit quicker and a little bit better at that game. Rollins got Anderson in the air. Missed the shot. And the refs are calling this thing tight early on. I think they're going to get Washington. Anthony Washington holding Ian Crosswhite. Crosswhite will go to the bench for Oregon. So Mitch Platt comes back in. Well, we've seen a lot of guys on both benches already. Remember Luke Jackson out of this game because he picked up 2 quick fouls. Did the same thing last week against Oregon State. Did not score much in the first half of that game and came back. Oregon won that game. Kind of a choppy game for Oregon. They admit not their best effort, but it was enough to get past the Beavers. Game was in Eugene. There's Kent. Kent penetrated once, backed out, and went again.
Referees are calling this game pretty close.
Trey Simmons that time for Washington. Romar was right in the official's ear saying, oh, come on, that was good D. And Romar's still working the official, just walks away from him. Timeout on the floor, 11:45, the Huskies by 3. 13-10 Washington, 11:45 to play in the first half. Mike Jensen, the sophomore from Covington, Washington, has just been picking his game up of late, especially tonight, 3 of 4 from the field. Playing at both ends, a steal there. He's got a couple of rebounds already, but he just moves well with the basketball now. I didn't see that early on this year.
Yeah, he's gaining confidence. Coach Romar told him that he needed more production from him, and he stepped up. I think one of the things he has to realize is production does not necessarily mean points. The coaching staff wants rebounds, they want defense, the defensive plays that he made, front in the post, getting a good tip out.
And you saw the graphic, 16 points in the win at USC on the recent road trip. Good outside shooter, about 50% from the arc. Kick out to Platt. They moved the ball well here. That's Lincoln. Spins, had the baseline, lost the handle, still able to get it up and in. That's only the 9th shot of the game for Oregon. Washington has already taken 16 field goals.
Those 16 field goals are due to Oregon turnovers and offensive rebounds by Washington.
Yeah, they're just getting more possessions, right?
Getting more possessions. Hustle plays. You get hustle plays and you get defense, you create turnovers, it turns out to be more shots. Before that shot, Washington had twice as many field goal attempts as Oregon.
So the bad news for Oregon, not getting a lot of looks, not getting a lot of possessions, but the good news, they're still in it, just down 1. And a 5-second count. Oh, those make you feel good on defense. And they anger coaches. Romar's been real positive the last month and a half with this basketball team, but cautiously so. This is a 2-on-1. Give up to Platt, off glass. Nice break by the Ducks, and Oregon goes in front, 14-13.
Right now, the full-court pressure for Washington has been a home run or a strikeout. Either they get a turnover and steal, or they give up a layup.
Conroy, fake baseline, went middle, and draws the foul.
You have to think that the more the game goes on, the more Oregon is going to get, the more comfortable Oregon's going to get with the Washington pressure, and the more transition baskets that's going to turn into.
Will Conroy, junior from Garfield High School here in Seattle. Garfield has 4 guys on the UW roster. 19 points against Arizona, 15 points against Oregon. And here comes Jensen back into the game. You had to figure he wasn't going to be out too long, and Nate Robinson follows him in from the scorer's table. Free throw missed, and Platt just throws it away. And look who's the first guy. Does he even have to stretch out, Nate Robinson?
Interception, Nate Robinson.
It's unbelievable. Conroy, with 3 guys around him, and you can count it.
These are the plays that Washington's been making during this run. They're getting to the basket, getting fouls, creating for each other. Conroy with the and one.
Washington is 1 for 5 from the free throw line right now. Those are points you never get back. Now they'll try to play some defense as Lincoln goes between the legs and a little contact out front. Conroy going to get called for it. Boy, a lot of fouls in this game already. 17 fouls for the Ducks, 5 for the Huskies. 12 fouls in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Adam Zahn is in. Adam Zahn's a freshman from Southern California. I saw him play at the prep level. He was a good player. But he's still trying to find his place here on this roster. A lot of seniors on the floor with him. Ball on the floor, taken away from Kent by Trey Simmons. Gives it up to Nate Robinson, ahead to Conroy. Blocked. Oh, that's a great play by Andre Joseph. Here's Lincoln. Lincoln kicks it, and it's out of bounds. Washington ball.
The pace picking up here.
Now, Lincoln's a sophomore, and that was just him trying to do a little bit too much, but great defensive play by Andre Joseph here.
This is the competition that goes down in the Washington-Oregon rivalry. Nothing easy.
Oh, you got to figure there's a little talk that followed that block, huh? Oregon now with 10, make it 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers for Oregon. Washington, that's Anthony Washington, the turnaround baby hook. Only guy in 100 years of Washington basketball named Washington. Halfway through the first half, 17-14.
It's a big jump hook for Washington. He's an emotional player. He's been practicing pretty good. This week, the staff feels like he's looking for a breakout game.
Joseph has hit 2 threes from there and missed one. Got a guy in the air. And saved. He knocked it off his own man, Zahn. Husky ball. Meanwhile, it's been a long time since we've seen Luke Jackson, huh?
Yeah, it has been a long time.
2 quick fouls early on. He's only had 1 field goal. He missed it. Bobby Jones got the rebound, and he fouled Jones. I think more out of frustration than anything else. And it's funny, he doesn't put on any sweats. He doesn't hold a drink. He's just saying, Coach, I'm ready anytime. Let me play.
Luke knows he's going to be over there for a while. He's trying to get a beat on the game, the rhythm, the tempo, and see when he can get in, where he can help out.
Trey Simmons from 16 feet, in and out, rattles, and James Davis plucks it out of the air. Davis just penetrates and makes somebody stop ball. Oh, good look inside to Crosswhite. He had a great seal. Miss, Platt shoves it back to Crosswhite. And Nate Robinson called for the reach underneath. Robinson will sneak down there and try to poke it away from the big guys. A good entry pass, and Crosswhite, a nice seal to start that sequence, but he missed the shot. Now he ends up at the free throw line.
Nate Robinson second. One of the rules of most college coaches is with 2 fouls, you come out of the game in the first half and sit to the second half.
Here's a reminder for you, the 8th-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs hosting the Pilots of Portland. It's Wednesday, and you can catch all the action right here on Fox Sports Net. The Zags beat the Pilots earlier this year, remain undefeated at home. Tune in Wednesday at 7:30 to see if Portland can pull the upset. I don't know, Gonzaga looking pretty good these days. They are deep and they are sharp. Crosswhite with the free throw brings the Ducks back within 1. By the way, that last offensive rebound for Oregon was their first of the game. 10 minutes without an offensive rebound. Jensen inside to Anthony Washington. That was halfway down and stayed out. And look who is there on the backside, Nate Robinson.
Coach Kent cannot be happy with the way his team is rebounding right now. The smallest guy on the court getting putbacks. It's easy to say, but it seems like he's always down there putting it back.
Davis for 3. Now, Andre Joseph and James Davis, they have such quick releases out top. He just can't get there in time, and he buried that one. 5-1, you see that lone, solitary offensive rebound for Oregon. You can bet Ken will be kicking some chairs in the locker room when he sees that number at halftime.
Yes, he will. He has to be pleased with the score.
Washington flashes to the near block and then just gets ridden out of bounds by Crosswhite. And that was good defense by Crosswhite. And Washington allowed himself to be pushed right out of bounds. Now Oregon is 3 for 5 from outside the stripe, and because of that, now they're right in this thing. We're tied at 19. But how about Nate Robinson, smallest guy on the floor? Well, it's a school night, but it's a special occasion, so let the kids stay up late. It's Oregon and Washington here on Fox Sports Net. We just saw James Davis knock down a 3. Washington knows all about it. January 15th, first meeting between these two teams. 3 straight possessions in the first half. James Davis pulls up outside the arc and knocks him down. How deep was this one with guys running at him? And then another Oregon player hit a 3, and then the next possession, oh, there he is again. 4 straight times he touched the ball, 4 straight times he put it in the hole. And Oregon went on to win that game, 84-74. Tonight, James Davis 1 for 2 from outside.
You gotta believe the Washington players have that in their memory banks. They'll know where he is out there on the floor.
Andre Joseph pulled up. I think somebody got a piece of it because it never made it to the basket. Nate Robinson lost the handle, tried to shovel it to himself, picks it up, throws it behind Anthony Washington. A little chaos, and here's the lob. Inside, went off the hands of Roy. Jensen, the no-look inside. Washington just standing under the basket. Again. Crosswhite and Anderson are both in there. They're both big bodies, but neither one of them could move Washington away from the hoop.
Washington looked like he was surprised by the first pass that he received. He's got to be ready to catch the ball and do something with it every time. Washington
now, the University of Washington that is, with 7 second chance points. Here's Davis. And Joseph says, let's set things. Looks for the rub from Crosswhite. 1 second on the shot clock. They got to get it off. They do. And it's short. Now they just lost track of the clock. Good defense by UW. Jensen. Good rebound by Crosswhite. Washington climbed up his back to knock it out of bounds. And both benches real upset right now. Romar and the Huskies were yelling when that sequence started, and now Kent is all over the officials. And Ernie Kent is going to send Jordan Kent back into the game, his son. He already made a brief appearance in the first 6 or 7 minutes of this game.
I tell you, James Davis has one of the quickest releases I've ever seen.
We shot on that 3, didn't we?
Yeah, he needs no space to get the shot off.
Well, that'll help him at the next level. Crosswhite. The big kid from Australia with a soft left hand. Again, we're tied at 21. Roy against Jordan Kent. Backs him down, got help from Anderson, and then tries to thread the needle and goes out of bounds. It'll be Oregon basketball. And here comes the full court pressure by Washington, and here comes Curtis Allen back into the game for the UW.
That was not a bad idea by Brandon Roy to try to make that pass. Bobby Jones has to help him out by stepping in front of the defensive man and screening him off almost like a rebound so he doesn't have to thread the needle so tough.
You can tell by that last graphic on turnovers that Washington has taken much better care of the ball. Davis and Joseph at the top both can shoot the 3 quickly and accurately. Anderson inside the Jordan Kent to Crosswhite. Great interior passing.
Oregon is a team that passes the ball extremely well. They use screens and they shoot the 3.
Sounds good.
Yeah, as we talked about, and we will continue to talk about throughout the night, extremely well. They play well as a team.
And people will look at Oregon's record at 6-4 as Roy knocks down the mid-ranger, and they'll say the Ducks aren't that great. But remember that who they're playing Arizona, they're playing Stanford.
And remember, they're playing without their starting point guard.
I'll admit the Pac-10 is a little bit down top to bottom, but there's still a lot of quality at the top half of this conference. Crosswhite again, and he draws the foul on Jensen. Jensen a little bit frustrated. You know, when he's been on the court tonight, he's been on, but he's been out of the game for a little bit.
That's the next step in maturity for Jensen, is to learn how to not make fouls that aren't necessary.
Got to pick your spots a little bit. How long did that take you to learn?
I knew when I stepped on campus.
Maybe I should ask one of your own coaches.
Crosswhite should not be a guy that has the ability to dribble drive around Mike Jensen.
Little 3/4 court pressure by Oregon, and all I do is give the ball to Nate Robinson and clear out. I don't know too many guys that can pick his pocket. Big high bounce pass to Roy. The fade away from 16. Oh, and how about Nate Robinson? Oh, stop it!
How about it? Nate Robinson with the putback. The little fella got up there and threw it down.
Oh, the kids love him, don't they? Crosswhite kicks out to Kent. They need one, and he buries it. A big three for the Ducks. How about your answer back?
I tell you, Washington should be concerned. They've gotten turnovers. They just turned the ball over. Offensive rebounds. They're down by 3 going into the half. Luke Jackson sat the majority of the first half.
Here it is again. Nate starts it. The miss by Roy. Watch him come in. 5'7.5", maybe 5'8". Looked like a skateboarder on the rim, doing a grinder off the backboard.
Kent turned his head to look at Brandon Roy, and Nate snuck in there behind him.
Oh, you turn your head on Nate, and he's already gone.
The coaches at Washington talk about the presence of Brandon Roy, and that's a perfect example of it. He's hit a couple jump shots. He's got the Oregon players' attention.
Slapped away by Nate, taken away by Nate, and Crosswhite came and grabbed him. Foul on Ian Crosswhite. You know, we've been talking about Nate Robinson since last year, but he's just such a spark plug. He's just amazing. When he steps on the court, it is impossible to ignore him.
He's all over the place. He has blinding speed, the jumping ability that he just showed you, the ability to go up there on the elevator, catch it and throw it down at his size. I haven't seen anybody in the Pac-10 like it in college basketball at that size to be able to do those things.
Misses the front end. Just over 3.5 now to play in the first half. And if you're not looking at the scoreboard, you wouldn't know this, but Oregon's up by 3. Seems like Washington's been making the bigger plays. The tip back by Anderson. And now it's a 5-point lead for Oregon, biggest of the night. Oregon is on an 11-4 run right now. Robinson, keeping him in it. Nate's got 6. Nate slaps it away from Davis in the backcourt. Timeout on the floor. And the crowd's starting to climb back in it. Ernie Kent doing a little teaching. Saying, I know it's tough. 30-27. Oregon is out shooting Washington 52 to 44% from the field, and because of that, a 3-point lead. Now, we've seen Nate Robinson before, earlier this year, January 17th at Corvallis. Time running out, down by 3, gets the man in the air, and buries the triple. They go to overtime, and UW wins 103-99. Best play of his career, maybe, against Arizona. From Curtis Allen, take a look at it again. That is 5'7.5". You seen a better play than that from him?
No, I haven't.
Tonight was close. And remember that Washington went on to win that game right here inside Bank of America, upsetting number 9 Arizona 96-83. That was part of a 5-game winning streak after opening the conference season with 5 straight losses. So a very streaky team, Washington, and trying to settle down and become one of the elites in the Pac-10. Jordan Kent went around Bobby Jones, got him in the air, tries to score with the left. Had his own rebound, then had it taken away. And they're going to get Brandon Roy with the hold underneath on the board. Well, Jordan Kent looking pretty good for a young player. Everybody talked about Jordan Kent, and as you did with all his exploits on the track. He's a tremendous sprinter and triple jumper.
The key for Jordan is to learn how to translate that in the points on the basketball court. He's already a terrific defender, adds energy to this team. Hone his skills a little bit, it'd be tough to deal with.
See those titles, 100, the 200, the 400, and the long jump. Excuse me, I think I called him a triple jumper, long jumper. Andre Joseph, offensive foul. Jensen stepped in and took it.
Aside from hitting those jump shots that Jensen's hitting early, he's making big defensive plays.
Oregon's going to make Washington start their defense from further out. They go off the knee of Washington. No, Oregon touched it last. Yeah, no, it's going to be Oregon basketball. It did go off of Anthony Washington. And Washington looks a little bit chaotic right now defensively. Crosswhite pushed Jensen. The crowd wanted a whistle. That ain't racing, that's rubbing. Ball on the floor. Brandon Roy's on the floor. He's got the ball and he shovels it back to Anthony Washington. Here comes Nate Robinson. He's scanning the floor. Jensen to his left, gives it to him. Nobody cutting middle, so Washington drops that shoulder. Offensive foul. Yeah, I think Crosswhite baited him into that.
I think so.
Yeah, just dropped it and then dropped the shoulder, and then Crosswhite embellishing it with a little bit of the flop. Good defensive play. So Oregon with a 4-point lead as Anthony Washington goes to the UW bench. Under 2 minutes to play in the half. And remember, we haven't seen Luke Jackson forever, but they turn it over. That's 10 turnovers now. Make it 13 turnovers for Oregon. 13 turnovers.
Constant pressure by Washington. Will Conroy, Nate Robinson, Brandon Roy has bothered the Oregon ball handlers.
Bobby Jones. Short, but he follows his own shot, kept it alive. And Anderson recovered for U of O. Lincoln puts the ball on the floor, and a chance for a three-point play.
Lincoln is a young player that the Oregon staff feels like has that kind of potential.
A sophomore from Portland.
He's a combo guard, showing his combination skills, getting to the basket, getting the bucket, and the free throw.
Well, the thing I've already noticed about this young man, Brandon Lincoln, is that when he has the advantage, when he has his shoulder in front of the defender, he attacks, he takes it to the rack.
That's what they're looking for him to do. They're looking for Brandon Lincoln to have a breakout game at some point and really help him going down the stretch of the Pac-10 season, into the Pac-10 tournament, and hopefully into the NCAA tournament for the Oregon Ducks.
Couldn't convert the free throw, so it's a 6-point game, 33-27, 1:20 to play in the half. Bobby Jones is alone, he didn't know it. Now he goes against Crosswhite and scores. Here comes Crosswhite, ahead to Anderson. Kent thought about the three and then thought better of it. And Crosswhite will shoot the three. He's short. Joseph out-hustles everybody to the basketball and then has it knocked away. So Oregon will get the ball, a new shot clock, and just under 58 seconds to play in the half. Ernie Kent's going to call timeout. Well, we're going to talk more about it at halftime, but without Luke Jackson, who would have thought that the Ducks would have had an advantage?
I know I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that Lorenzo Romar and his coaching staff addresses at halftime.
That's something you don't see Luke Jackson doing very often. That's encouraging his teammates from the bench. He's got the towel around his neck. We haven't seen him in about 15 minutes. The border battles are over, and we have all the highlights tonight after the game. Plus, Bill Kruger talks about the M's recent moves. Lenny Wilkins delivers a $10,000 check. And what's happened to Pac-10 hoops? Coaches and Marcus Johnson weigh in. All this tonight on Fox Sports Net after the game. Now, Donald Watts, you played here for 4 years, so you left in '99. Have you seen Pac-10 hoops? Has it gone down in the recent last, what, 2-3 years?
I think it has, but it's tough to say as a former player. you always think that you're better than the guys that are out there on the court.
Crosswhite inside, and he scores. No interior defense for Washington. 6-point lead. We'll get a whistle. I'm going to ask you why you think that is. Why Pac-10 hoops has fallen off just a bit. Jay Simmons dropped it.
A little tidbit, I don't think it's just Pac-10. I think it's college basketball.
Inside out. And now Washington can hold for the rest of the half. Would you hold here?
No, I wouldn't. Not the way they play pressure defense. I would try to get a bucket and try to get a steal and get as close as I can by halftime.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can see they were out of sync, and so Lorenzo's going to call a timeout. Lorenzo Romar, UW head coach. And a little bit frustrated in this first half. His team just not able to capitalize on some of their early advantages. They had a rebounding advantage, they had a shooting advantage, they had a possession advantage, and yet Oregon hung in there. Shot the ball well from outside and played well without Luke Jackson. So all of college basketball is down, huh? That's what you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think with a lot of the young guys that are, pretty good coming out of high school going directly to the NBA, I think you lose, a lot of those guys. In the Pac-10 in general, you look at when I was playing the Arizona team that won the national championship, finished 5th in the Pac-10 with guys like Jason Terry, Mike Dickerson, Miles Simon, Bennett Davison. I mean, I don't see a team like that in the Pac-10 at all this year.
And Brandon Roy, coming out of high school, was a guy who was thinking about jumping into the 2002 NBA draft and withdrew his name. I agree. I don't think guys, because they don't stay very long, they don't have time really to develop. They develop when they're in the NBA. 6 seconds. Roy lost the handle, needs some help. Conroy cut inside, threw it up. That wasn't close, and that was an ugly last 8 seconds. The line drive goes off the rim. Now Luke Jackson, the first guy firing off the floor for Oregon. He's fired up. He wasn't there for his guys, but they had his back. Oregon, without Luke Jackson, leads 35-29 at the half. And here's something to take the break with. Washington did not make a three-pointer in the first half. Ducks by 6 when we come back to Heck Ed. Oregon shot 52% from the field in the first half. Washington shot 45%. Take a look at some of the early highlights for Oregon. They're a team that likes to play in transition. Ian Crosswhite here breaking down the defense and taking it to the cup. He led Oregon with 8 points. A couple other guys chipped in with 6. One of those was Mitch Platt. He's a new name that you got to remember, freshman from Henderson, Nevada. And how about James Davis? Well, we know about him. We can break it down and kick it back outside. Andre Joseph hit 2 threes. He also has a half dozen points. You look at the scoring leaders for Oregon in this one. Crosswhite, and we have him with 8 points on the scoring sheet. We'll give him 10 points right there. 6 for both Platt and Joseph. Good balance there for Oregon a little bit. Now let's talk about Washington. And then you got to talk about Nate Robinson.
Yeah, Nate Robinson's been tremendously active, showing everything he has. The pull-up jumpers, the putbacks. Right here you see him go up and slam it down right over an Oregon guy's back.
Nate Robinson with 6 points in the first half, and the other guys, Conroy and Roy, those guys starting to fill in just a little bit. Brandon Roy had 6 points as well for Washington. Good balance across the front line. Mike Jensen wasn't on the court an awful lot. They're going to need him and his presence inside, especially on the defensive glass, over the next 20 minutes. Oregon leads it by 6, 35-29 when we come back. Sidebar story on this one, Luke Jackson, just 3 minutes in the first half of this game. Now, he had a similar situation last week against Oregon State, a couple early fouls, but came on to score 17 points in the last 12 minutes of that game and lead the Ducks to victory over the Beavers in the Civil War, the indoor Civil War as they call it. Here he is right here, starting the second half and starting with a shot, and he's 0 for 2 tonight. He leads the conference in scoring in conference games, Luke Jackson, at 23 points a game. Nate Robinson being helped up off the deck. A bit of a bum wheel there. Guy's falling on him. Bending that leg just a little bit. Ow. Jim Watson, Donald Watts courtside at Bank of America Arena on campus at UW. Good crowd, but they're quiet right now. Not much to cheer about. Their team went the can for about 10 minutes at the end of the first half. Shot by Bobby Jones, no good. Luke Jackson with a rebound. There's Bobby Jones back on Luke Jackson. Did a great job on him in just those 3 short minutes.
Yes, he did. Looks like he's trying to keep up the same energy here to keep him bothered.
In case you're thinking about it, Luke Jackson's season low this year was 14 points against USC. And those are his first 2.
That's Luke Jackson.
Sweet shot. Luke Jackson doesn't look like he's going to press at all. Looks like he's going to let the game come to him.
Robinson the pull-up. Robinson tried to draw the whistle. He ends up on his back out near midcourt. Bobby Jones ends up on his back under the basket. No whistle at either end. Count the 2, and still a 6-point game. Yeah, I was going to ask you if Luke Jackson would press, but yeah, he's just such a heady guy, and he's being a senior. Going to wait for the opportunities, I guess, huh?
Yeah, he's a 4-year guy. He's been to a couple NCAA tournaments. I don't think he's going to get too excited about not being able to play that much in the first half because of foul trouble. He came out of halftime with a smile on his face, happy because his team was up and ready to go get it started.
He just goes right around Roy, gets in the air, gives it to Crosswhite, and a chance at a 3-point play.
That's a perfect example right there. That's a shot that he could have took, but he dished it off to his teammates to keep getting them involved. Luke gets up in the air, probably could have shot the pull-up jumper, but drops it off to his team. Crosswhite to keep him going.
The foul was on Mike Jensen, and that's 3 now on Jensen. And Lomar's going to leave Jensen in for the time being. Well, sometimes you have to learn how to play with fouls, don't you?
Yes, you do. And sometimes you have to learn how to play without fouling.
Yeah, that's the next step, I guess, huh? And there's Luke Jackson with the takeaway. Tried to reverse, stumbled, lost his feet and possession. Jensen for 3.
Mike Jensen's been shooting the ball extremely well on this streak that they have.
Here's Crosswhite, giving it to the big guy in the middle of the floor to Platt, and a blocking foul underneath. And that's on Jensen, and now that's 4. Well, now you got to get him out. And he's already walking to the bench.
He knows he has to go sit down. Mike Jensen has to know that he has 3 fouls. The big guy's handling it. He's got to stun at the big guy and play the passing lane and get out of the way, basically. You never want to get out of the way, but you fake like you're going, you fake at the defensive man and then jump in the passing lane to try to get the steal, and conveniently, you're out of the play, so you can't commit your 4th foul, especially when you're playing and shooting the ball as well as you're shooting it.
So Jensen goes to the bench, Platt to the free throw line. Oregon shot the ball from the free throw line much better in the first half than Washington did. Washington was awful from the free throw line. And now they're going to get another free throw, a chance at a 3-point play right there for Will Conroy.
Will Conroy just pushes the ball up the court, right to the middle of the lane. This is when Washington's at its best. When Washington dribbles up to the 3-point line and stands and tries to get into an offense, they have trouble scoring the basketball.
Conroy short again on the free throw. Washington 0 for 4, or Conroy's 0 for 4 in free throws. And Washington as a team is 1 for 7, and at least one of those was the front end of a 1-and-1. That's just giving away points. And Hakeem Rollins just riding Ian Crosswhite. Official called that one early. Oregon's done a good job keeping Washington out of their transition game. Dogs have not been allowed to run. Jackson, and he hit the rim. It wasn't a shot. I think he was trying to pass it.
Jackson maybe being a little too passive at this point in the game.
Yeah, good point. Bobby Jones. Jackson flashes to short 17 and then gives to Platt. He knows now that the defense is going to suck to him every time he gets the ball, and he's looking to pass first. Bobby Jones against Crosswhite. Roy stepped inside of Jackson. Bobby Jones. Bojo needs a bounce and gets it. Quickly the other way, Joseph, and he's mugged by a couple of guys. One of them was Bobby Jones. Jones was there, and so was Will Conroy. We'll see who they give it to.
Bobby Jones, John with Crosswhite a little bit, gave him a little nudge after the play. The officials talking to him, trying to straighten it out, figure out what's going on down there.
Foul was on Conroy. 1 for 7 for Washington, and as I mentioned, one of those I think was the front end of a 1-and-1. Pretty sure. awful.
You know, we shouldn't be surprised to see Crosswhite. Crosswhite's handled the ball 2 times on the perimeter on the fast break, and then on the perimeter play to get them started into some easy offense.
It can't be by design. You can't be giving it to the 6'10" guy in the middle of the floor, can you?
It's not by design, but they know he can shoot the 3. He's a very skilled big man, and he's a big guy. It can't take Washington by surprise. The Oregon coaches know he has that talent and ability, and they allowed him the freedom to do it.
Brandon Lincoln comes back in for Oregon, replacing Mitch Platt on the floor. Ducks led by 6 at the half. They lead by 5 right now. Brandon Roy working against Lincoln. Conroy cutting through the lane for the layup. And 1. They hit him on the side of the face. And he laid it in. And Luke Jackson is talking to the official. He's saying, hey, if it was a foul, it was a foul before the shot. You can't have both.
That was a pretty cute example by the referee of what happened. Usually they just call a foul by going slap across the arm, but he showed the slack on the face as he went over to the scorer's table.
Conroy goes back to the free throw line where he's got an 0 for going. He's 0 for 4. Washington is 1 for 7, 14%. And he makes the free throw. And you can hear by the crowd that they've been following that storyline as well.
Conroy hits his free throws. Washington's up in this ball game.
Taken away by Bobby Jones. Chance to tie the game. Stolen again. Jackson on the floor. And a foul on Washington. On Bobby Jones. Now Lorenzo Romar is upset at the moment, but when he looks up at the scoreboard, he'll see that Washington just went on an 11-4 run in the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds to draw even. Tied at 45, and Luke Jackson has just 2 points. And Luke Jackson here to start the second half, as you pointed out, Donald, starting to look for his teammates.
Yeah, he's not pressing at all. He's giving the ball up, passing for his teammates. He's not even thinking about how many points he has or doesn't have, for that matter.
But there's going to be a point in this game where he's going to have to think about those points. He averages 23 a game. He's got 2. When does he start looking for his shot?
I think he has to look for a shot. There he goes, giving it up again.
Giving it up to Black again. Well, not yet, I guess. That was the answer. Oregon back in front here by 2. Nate Robinson, look at the elevation. Missed the shot. Joseph had it stripped away by Conroy. Good play at midcourt. Robinson looking to capitalize, threw it at the feet of Bobby Jones. Andre Joseph is alone. They give to Luke Jackson. That's a 3. Here he comes. That's a Wooden Award candidate. You got to feel fortunate he was on the bench for 17 minutes in the first half.
The Washington Huskies seem like they have controlled the tempo of this game, but then shot themselves in the foot over and over again.
Conroy was a foot short. Bobby Jones couldn't save it. And it just was not a good release. A little flat. Bobby Jones again, marking Luke Jackson. Crosswhite lost the handle and able to save. Joseph, double pump from 3. And the Ducks are up by 8. That's an 8-0 Oregon run.
Oregon's getting the bounces right now.
Roy, jump stop against Platt. That wouldn't go. Crosswhite pulls it down. Roy takes it away. Crosswhite again, and nobody's taking that one as he throws Nate Robinson into the crowd. 2 guys just playing hard. Platt, excellent seal by Mitch Platt. That's a freshman. And it's a 10-point lead, and Ernie Kent is all fired up. He loves it. Now Washington answered back on a run, and the counterpunch came from the Ducks. 10-0, and it's a 10-point lead. During the timeout, Jordan Kent getting a little medical attention, took off the right boot. He's holding that heel up. I don't know if he's just cramping up in the calf because he's rubbing that a little bit. Didn't see what happened when he was out on the court.
It looks like a long foot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got some growing. Now Luke Jackson has started to heat up. He's got 5 points. He pulls up on this 3 because Washington just leaves him alone. And we told you that Oregon is a great three-point shooting team. This ball kicked back outside, double pump, and Andre Joseph knocks down a 3. Oregon is 6 of 12 from outside the arc right now, 50%. That's why they lead the Pac-10 third in the country. When they start shooting from outside, it opens up the inside. Mitch Platt with a good seal.
That's something that the Oregon coaches have been real pleased with as of late, as their inside play has been coming along strong. They'll be tough to beat in the second half of this Pac-10 season if that continues.
I'm pretty impressed with their balance so far. We knew they had that outside game. But the big guys, Crosswhite, Platt, and Anderson, starting to pick up some of the slack there as well.
You know, in this game, I think that it's a case of Washington being spoiled by the turnovers and the offensive rebounds and not getting back. Oregon's gotten a lot of the easy 3 from Luke Jackson to try to get him rolling, and some transition buckets. Got Mike Jensen his 4th foul in transition.
Second foul on Mitch Platt. And there's pressure again. They already got Washington on a 5 count once before tonight. And that's a foul. They're going to get a foul. Who'd they call that on?
On Anthony Washington.
Anthony Washington. Clear out with the elbow. That's 3 on Anthony Washington. UW's had trouble just getting the ball in bounds underneath the basket. Defense by Oregon. Platt pops out, and he forced that one across White. They're fortunate to get this ball back. Jackson for 3. Can you say uh-oh? He's got 8.
Uh-oh. Brandon Roy gets caught on the screen. They cannot allow that to happen. Where is Bobby Jones?
He's not on the floor right now. A 13-0 run by Oregon over 2.5 minutes. And that was after a great run by Washington to get back in this game, 11-2.
Bobby Jones has done an excellent job on Luke Jackson.
A little bit of a force, but they needed something. And so they go to the firecracker to try and start something. Gets him back within 10. Jackson to Platt. Platt against Anthony Washington. Platt in and out, wouldn't go, and here comes Nate. 1-on-3, kicks it out to the senior Allen.
Nate's looking to go to work right now.
Another 3. He's trying to start the rally. It goes to Hakeem Rollins, and he bumps shoulders with Lincoln. And they're going to get Brandon Lincoln for the collision.
Washington's out of sync right now. Nate had excellent penetration into the middle of the floor. It should have resulted in a shot for him or somebody else, but the team didn't move around and find an open spot like they have done in the recent past on this run that they've been on.
Trey Simmons comes in. Luke Jackson goes to the bench. This is probably just a scheduled breather for him. Would imagine he'll be out too long, maybe 2 minutes. Anthony Washington back and forth inside. Couldn't finish. And a foul on UW on Nate Robinson. That's going to be 3 on Nate.
Nate's kind of upset. That's the way he's used to playing. He went there and got a little push. It wasn't a crowd in there, so he couldn't hide. Got him with a push in the back.
A lot of team fouls early in the first half, and then things settle down. We're starting this half the same way. Brandon Lincoln going to the line.
Nate Robinson doesn't believe that they called the foul on him.
Well, Washington has struggled from the line, 2 of 8. Oregon has been sizzling hot, 9 of 12. And now 10 of 13, and it seems like they're getting all the bounces now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Anything that has to do with shooting, Oregon is good at, whether it's 2-point field goals, 3-point field goals, or free throw line.
Yeah, point well taken. Oregon in this game right now shooting 58% from the field. That'll win you some ball games, won't it?
Yes, it will.
1 out of 2 there for Lincoln. Washington has come back before. They were down by 16 at Oregon State, won that game in overtime. They trailed number 9 Arizona here and won that game. Curtis Allen penetrates and draws the foul. Now that was just a senior play. He saw the defense part, he attacked, and he's going to the free throw line.
Beautiful drive by Curtis Allen. Beautiful drive by Curtis Allen. You see him come out here from behind flat. Oregon extending the zone a little bit too much right there, getting a little carried away.
That's 3 now on Mitch Platt. Curtis Allen, by the way, if you're struggling at the free throw line, well, you want Curtis Allen to go to the free throw line. He's one of the greatest free throw shooters in Pac-10 history. He's shooting over 87% in his career. That is the second best in Pac-10 history behind Rocket Rod Foster at UCLA. Timeout on the floor. They're going to need a lot more than free throws to climb back into this thing, but they've whittled it down to a single digit. It's 59-50. The guys from Eugene. Jackson is starting to creep back into this game. He's up to 8 points now. He only played, what, 3 minutes in the first half, but now he's taking his time, he's finding his spots, and he's getting some open looks. Where's Bobby Jones?
Bobby Jones is sitting on the bench, and he's still on the bench. Luke Jackson is back in the game. You would expect Lorenzo to counter after seeing Luke Jackson getting a wide open 3 like that. Brandon Roy getting caught underneath the screen. I don't think that's a play that Bobby Jones would let happen.
It looks like he's got Trey Simmons on Luke Jackson now. You like that matchup?
I don't. You know, Trey Simmons' responsibility in the game is to score. He's not their best defender. I think whenever Luke Jackson's on the floor, they should have their best defender guarding.
And inside to Ian Crosswhite. Crosswhite's got 15 points.
Big guys from Oregon have done a tremendous job playing with each other, sealing, using their size to their advantage.
Davis ran into Nate Robinson. His second foul. You know, James Davis averages 13 points a game. He hasn't really been a factor. I think he only has 3 points in the game.
He's been a factor. He got him the penetration, kicks. He's accepted a different role for this team, and the coaches are very pleased with his progress. He's a pass first, shoot second guy by necessity, and he's made the adjustment. Those are the kind of things that you can expect your seniors, you know, to do. It's about maturity, and he's done a tremendous job for this Oregon team, who's missing their starting point guard.
That's right, Aaron Brooks, freshman from here in Seattle, on the bench. Aaron Brooks with that freak accident when he just kind of shadow punched the basket standard down in Los Angeles against UCLA. Didn't even hit it hard. Injured his wrist. Good movement here by Oregon. Jackson getting some open space. Got Anthony Washington in the air, gets it back, and now he pulls the trigger. Off the mark, and AW with a rebound. Here comes Nate Robinson. Crowd kind of waiting for that run. Curtis Allen misses from 3. Midcourt, Andre Joseph to Luke Jackson for the finish. He's in double figures now. And now he has gone over 1,700 points as a Duck. Only the 4th Oregon player ever to go over 1,700 points. Trey Simmons able to track it down. And there's just no movement for Washington at this end. A lot of guys standing around. No whistle, no help.
Anthony Washington didn't want to turn to the left side of the court. The left side of that paint was open.
Good one touch to Crosswhite. Anderson lost the handle, hit him right in the hands, and he knows it. He would have had a layup. Now Luke Jackson played just 3 minutes in the first half. He has 10 points now in the second half.
Luke Jackson has stayed with his game and found himself in double figures with 10 minutes left to go in this game. he could very quickly be up on his average.
I know some people, some of the pro scouts are kind of down on that guy. I don't know if he can really play at that next level. I'm telling you, he's a tremendous athlete. 6'7", you don't even think he's that big. And he does it all. He's just got a great attitude on the court. He is tough. Robinson had it stripped away. Now it's a foot race. And Andre Joseph's going to win it. And the Ducks have rebuilt their lead up to 13 points now, under 10 minutes to play.
They built their league playing the zone. They've taken Washington totally out of what they want to do. No transition buckets for Washington. The zone and their big guys.
Guards are playing catch, picking up their dribbles. Bobby Jones flashes in the middle, and he's able to score. Now that's what you have to do against the zone. You got to move to the open spot, or you got to hit the threes. And Crosswhite's going to get called for a foul as he knocks Brandon Roy down in midcourt. And Brandon's a little slow to get up.
I think Bobby Jones has a presence. Jackson's bringing the ball up the court, and they got a double team, but he looks in front of him, sees Bobby Jones, and immediately tries to pass the ball away.
Brandon Roy just got clotheslined in midcourt. He's got bent. Slow to get up. It took a long time to walk to the other end, and now Romar's going to call everybody over. The officials are talking about something all by themselves out near midcourt, and usually when those three gather like that, they're doing one of a couple things. Either they're checking the clock or they're checking to see who the foul was on to make sure. And now they're explaining it to Ernie Kent. The foul was clearly on Ian Crosswhite. He was the only guy in the neighborhood.
Crosswhite's got 3 fouls.
And now Crosswhite's going to the bench.
He's been the guy for Oregon tonight. He's got 15 points, but he's also made plays. He started their offense. He dribbled the ball down in transition. He showed us a little bit of everything.
Brandon Roy, 78% from the free throw line. Makes the first. 7 of 13 now as a team, Washington. And you got to make them all now. That's going to be an intentional foul. And Jay Anderson. Now, I'm not sure exactly what Jay was all upset about, but he and Bobby Jones got locked up, and Ernie Kent's not happy about it. And Ernie's saying, why? Why would you do that? Why are you thinking that right now? And to stress the coach's point, they have control of this game right now, and they're on the road, and you don't want to give these guys a chance to get back in this game at all. You want to step on their throat and bury them right now, and here a silly foul in the backcourt is going to give them not only the 2 free throws, but also possession again. So they hit a 3, it's a 5-point turnaround.
Potential to have 7 straight points.
He missed the free
6
throw.
now.
We're going to try to pick it up again. Watch the left side of your screen on this replay. And they get locked up, I guess, on the free throw. And he just kind of shoves him. Yeah, you anger your coach that way with a silly head play, you're going to the bench. Hakeem Rollins in the lane. Tipped up and in by Brandon Roy. Oh, that was great athleticism by Roy getting inside. And here they come. And Ernie Kent's not going to let the noise get too loud in here. He calls timeout. But a 7-0 UW run. How many runs have we had in this game? It's one team and then it's the other. Just when you think it's over, UW comes back. Just when you think they're back in it, Oregon puts on a run of their own. Here's the last one. Watch Brandon Roy come inside.
It's hard to see who got it, if that was Roy or Davis, but it counts for the Huskies.
Now the Husky women face the Ducks this Saturday in Eugene. Last time these teams were in Seattle, UW handed Oregon its worst Pac-10 loss in school history. They beat them 95-50, but the Huskies, of course, have struggled on the road this year. Will the Ducks redeem themselves at Mac Court? We'll find out Saturday at 2 o'clock on Fox Sports Net. Get a chance to see Juliana Mendiola play, the reigning Pac-10 Player of the Year.
Yeah, she's a terrific player. She can do it all, post up, rebound.
I was here last week against USC. She brought him back single-handedly, hit a couple of threes late. June Doherty has said that Juliana Mendiola, the best player, best women's player in UW history, knocked away by Brandon Roy in a turnover. Now, turnovers have always led to points for Washington. They have 21 points off of Oregon turnovers today. They need 2 more right here. Roy inside. Got it. 4-point game.
This guy right here, guard Luke Jackson, has got back on the floor and added the energy back into this arena.
Great read by Curtis Allen, almost got there. Luke Jackson, a huge 3. It's off the heel and pulled down by Nate Robinson. Nate ahead to Bobby Jones. He missed the dunk, and they're going to get Luke Jackson for the foul. And I'll tell you what, I think Bobby Jones walked before he went up for the dunk.
Yeah, I think he walked. I don't know if he got fouled or not.
Now Luke Jackson is saying, I never touched him. He says, I never reached. I'm a senior. I wouldn't touch. And watch the steps. Little stutter step. Oh yeah, that's a walk. Jackson says he didn't touch him.
It looked like he missed him.
So Jones walks in, misses the dunk, and gets bailed out. And you can see the look on his face. He knows. That's all right. Sometimes you'll take those.
Especially his 3rd foul on Luke Jackson. Washington's got to go at him, see if they can sit him back down. I think if you get Luke Jackson sitting down, as well as Crosswhite, who's coming back into the game, you won't be sitting down for long.
Yeah, here comes Crosswhite in for Adam Zahn. It wasn't in long. You got to have your big guy on the floor now for that inside presence.
The Husky guys got to know that these guys are in foul trouble and go right at them. As well as Oregon has to know that Nate Robinson is sitting with 3 fouls. Make the coach make a decision.
Bobby Jones makes them both. UW on an 11-0 run over the last minute. 11-0 in a minute. Jones has got 16 and a foul in midcourt on Bobby Jones against Jackson. He was just bodying up a little bit too much. Makeup call?
Maybe.
I'm not trying to pick on the officials.
Maybe a makeup call. You're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to make up calls as a ref, but he might have done it. His conscience might have been eating at him.
Yeah, they're human. So it sends Jackson to the free throw line, and you can almost count these. Of course, He is on the road, isn't he?
Almost. That's why we shoot him.
And that's why I'm up here. Under 8 minutes to play, and Washington can tie with a 2 and go ahead with a 3. Bobby Jones against Platt, the kick out.
Ooh.
To tie it.
Beautiful drive by Brandon Roy. They're rocking in the arena.
James Davis short. Platt with a rebound. Loose ball, came back to Platt. He has it knocked away. And it's a 3-on-1. Nate Robinson giving it up. Bobby Jones for the lead.
Bobby Jones made sure he finished that one, and it was a big one.
And here comes Luke Jackson. Wave it off. Foul on the floor before the shot. It's on the floor.
Bad decision by Nate Robinson. You know, he's extremely competitive, but he just picked up his 4th foul. They gave the foul to Bobby Jones.
And now Jones has 4. Mike Jensen comes back in with 4 fouls. Bobby Jones with 4 fouls goes to the bench.
Luke watched Bobby Jones go over to the bench in relief. Maybe now he'll be able to get a little breathing room.
Makes the first 1-point game. Brandon Lincoln comes in. James Davis goes out for Oregon. this free throw to tie. And it stays out. Jensen pulls it down, and here comes UW. First time they've had a possession with the lead in a long time.
Jensen on the floor with 4 fouls. Has to remain aggressive, but also play smart. You got to play fundamental basketball when you're in foul trouble. You got to make sure in rebounds you keep your body in between your man and the basket. Don't reach over the back.
Shot clock is at 5 seconds. The senior, Curtis Allen, is going to have to put it up. 2 seconds, three-pointer. Off the mark. And Brandon Lincoln has it. Jensen got knocked out of bounds by Platt. And there's Platt alone. Nobody picked up his man. Jensen was left alone. He was screaming for defensive help, and Washington fell asleep.
That was a case where Washington was playing my man defense, and they were only playing their own man. When you're down one guy's down in the backcourt, you got to kind of play a zone no matter what defense you're in. You got to play in between the guys so you can adjust to whoever gets the ball.
Oregon's back in front. Curtis Allen gaps the defense. Offensive foul on the senior. He tried to attack, and Crosswhite wasn't moving.
Right idea. Curtis Allen should get in there and try to make something happen. But when he gets in there with the trees, you got to look to dish off.
Now Bobby Jones and UW on a tremendous run. Bobby Jones has 18 points. His career high is 19, but Oregon still leads by 1. Angie, I'm on campus. I'm representing Fox Sports Net. Nothing but a professional, you know that. Jim Watson, Donald Watts, inside Bank of America Arena. We showed you at the top, and Donald, must seem like 2.5 hours ago now, but we showed that 97 finish. You were here for that one. It went back and forth over the last 2 minutes. It's just something about the Dogs and the Ducks.
Yeah, it's a tremendous rivalry. It's been this way. I think it's going to remain this way.
And even when Oregon had a 13-point lead, you could sense the kids here. They didn't leave. They didn't even sit down. And a 13-0 run by Washington. And they caught them at 65. Oregon leads by 1. They have the basketball. Crosswhite kicking it out to Lincoln. Lincoln from 6 feet. Wouldn't go. Tipped by Jackson. And Jensen with a board.
Washington is looking to turn around and set up the play. I don't think that's to their advantage.
There's the lob. That's a set play. They wanted to go to Brandon Roy, and Mitch Platt read it perfectly. He just backed into the lane.
Nate Robinson got the outlet at the hash mark and turned around and passed it back. I do not think that's to Washington's advantage. I think they should press the ball, get it into the scoring area, and look to score the ball quickly.
So Platt, the freshman, looks good at one end, then turns it over. Ernie Kent says that's all right, let's play some defense. 24 turnovers for Oregon. And yet here they are with a 1-point lead. Roy inside. Needed a bounce, didn't get it. All green jerseys around that loose ball. Jackson in the front court. Wants Crosswhite. Crosswhite spins baseline. Pretty move, couldn't finish.
Everything Washington is doing right now is out of the set. And what it does is it creates an environment where the 4 guys that aren't shooting the ball are standing around watching. They're not playing with the energy and activity on offense or defense that they were playing with earlier.
Draw and dish by Nate Robinson to Brandon Roy.
Now that was a great play by Nate Robinson. Got his guy up in the air, got up in the air and made the nice feed to Brandon Roy. That's the way they have to play. Coaches can't design that.
Big screen by Crosswhite. Jackson left alone for 3, and it wouldn't go. Jackson having a miserable night overall. Had a good stretch to start the second half, but played just 3 minutes in the first half. Jensen had a 12-footer and passed it up. There's Roy inside to Allen for 3. He's been short the last 3 times. Chased down by Rollins in the corner. And a fresh shot clock. We need to hurry. Crossover by Roy. Jensen from the corner. In, out, back in.
Mike Jensen shooting the ball terrifically.
Timeout, Oregon. Jensen playing gingerly at the defensive end with 4 fouls. And a nice touch. Look at patting the coaches on the head. Saying, believe in me, leave me out there. I'll put my hands in my pockets, play defense with my feet. Brandon Roy, along with Bobby Jones, led that run by Washington. Here's Nate Robinson. You said that great play, drawing the defense and kicking it out.
That's Washington at his best. One guy creating for another guy on the court. Their guards have tremendous speed, tremendous ball handling ability. When they help each other out, they're a good basketball team.
And there's Mike Jensen with that sweet touch. Thing tried to climb out. He tucked it back in. 71-68. 3 minutes exactly to play. Jensen playing with those 4 fouls. Bobby Jones also has 4 fouls for Washington.
A concern for the Oregon coaching staff with the big guys is conditioning. In the Stanford game, they felt like that's where they lost the game. They had 4 guys that had to log more than 30 minutes. They felt like that was too much for their team. They're looking for a 4-man rotation for the bigs. These guys have logged some heavy minutes again tonight. See if Washington can take advantage.
That 13-0 Washington run is now swelled to a 19-3. Oh, and how about Andre Joseph? A bang triple from the corner to even it at 71.
That's a name we haven't called since early in the game, but a big shot from Andre Joseph.
And look at Washington spreading the floor. Jensen in one corner, Brandon Roy in the other corner, really spreading out the zone of Oregon.
The zone is soft in the middle.
Robinson. Nate for 3. Nate ends up on his back. The ball ends up in the hoop. Turnover.
Lincoln was conscious of Nate Robinson coming up from behind. Just wanted to get rid of the ball. When he looked up, he realized that he had the big on the wing and did not want to pass it to him and threw it out of bounds in his indecision.
Pac-10 basketball is brought to you by Pepsi. It's the cola. Oregon and Washington, doesn't matter what sport, doesn't matter what venue, it always seems to be good and it always seems to be close. 74-71. Washington over Oregon 207. Nate Robinson just hit the big 3 after dishing it off. He gets it. Now you tell us, is this a foul? Platt runs into him, knocks him into the bench. He buries the 3. Right in front of the Washington bench, they were screaming for it and didn't get it.
The play before, Nate Robinson got Oregon defensive player off the floor, made a pass to Brandon Roy. That time, he got to the middle of the floor, kicked it to Curtis Allen, and got it back for himself. That's an example of how being unselfish ends up paying off for yourself.
He also forced the last turnover. 25 turnovers for Oregon, and they've led to 25 Washington points. This year, Oregon is 10-0 when holding opponents under 75 points, and Washington has 74 and now 76.
Brandon Roy bailing out the Huskies. That was a tough play.
On the flip side of that, when teams score more than 75 against Oregon, the Ducks are 1-5. Crosswhite blocked by Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones on the floor. The energy in the arena automatically picks up. Bobby Jones coming from the help. He went to help. Brandon Roy on Luke Jackson comes off and swats it out of bounds.
Well, if there's ever a time for Luke Jackson, it's now. He forces that one. Washington gets the rebound, and the senior holds it up. A smart play. The biggest lead of the game for Washington with a minute to play. And a foul on Andre Joseph.
I tell you, for those of you who like to... If I was a wagering man, I wouldn't wager on this series at all. You never know what's going to happen when the Huskies and the Ducks get together. It's been an excellent ball game here again tonight.
Jensen goes to the line. He was the guy handing the ball off at midcourt. And Jensen. That's 12 points now for Mike Jensen. James Davis back into the game for Oregon.
James Davis has been the Washington Husky nemesis in the past. They got to know where he's at. He's dangerous with the three-point shot. He will not hesitate to take it. 208
three-pointers in his career coming in. Joseph and Davis and Jackson can all shoot the three. There's Joseph. He's going to take this ball to the basket. And they can't even get a layup to go. Oregon has 2 field goals in the last 8 minutes of the game, and now they pick up another backcourt foul.
Mike Jensen looks at Coach Lorenzo Romar and says, this was the type of production you were talking about, baby. I'm giving it to you.
And that was just frustration for Andre Joseph. He wanted to make that layup. And then he didn't even get it back. Now, Washington is going to clear out and put everybody back at midcourt. UW only 60% from the line tonight. And it just keeps getting worse. You know, and I'm one of those guys who says if you're not going to shoot 70% from the line, you don't deserve to win. Well, they're not going to shoot 70% from the line tonight, but I think they do deserve to win this game. He missed them both. They're now 12 of 22 from the line as a team. Joseph for three, got to have it. And now it's 77-74. Oh, you had to have that one. And how big are the missed free throws now? Look at Mike Jensen shaking his head. He's the last guy over the bench.
I'm not sure why Lorenzo Romar pulled his team off the line, shooting the percentage that they're shooting tonight. They haven't been shooting free throws very well. And then it allows Oregon to dribble the ball up the court fast and get it to Joseph for the nice, silky three-point shot.
Yeah, I agree with you. But it's easy to say now, I guess. Huh? He makes both free throws, and Lorenzo Romar looks like a genius because he's got 4 guys back to play defense.
You know you're supposed to play the percentages as a coach, and right now the percentages at the free throw line are not in Washington's favor.
Now, I hope you read that graphic. 3 field goals in 8 minutes and 10 seconds for Oregon, and yet here they are just 1 possession out of it. This game, more than any other that we've done this year, just it doesn't reflect. The game and the stat sheet don't reflect one another. You look down at the stat sheet, one team is shooting better than the other, and one team is out rebounding the other. We've had streaks for both teams. That's why you play the game.
Full court pressure. Tough defense by Washington has to do with Bobby Jones, the guy you just saw on your screen playing tough D.
And they're going to foul Mike Jensen. Of course, he just missed those 2 in a row. They get Brandon Lincoln, the sophomore, to come up and foul. Now Jensen's got this long walk.
That was another interesting play. Bobby Jones just missed 2 free throws, and that's the guy you have pop to the ball coach and showing confidence in Mike Jensen. See if Mike Jensen comes through for him.
As soon as Mike Jensen was fouled, Lorenzo Romar pointed at him and said, come here. He brought him over and he talked in his ear. Jensen nodded 3 or 4 times. He patted him on the back, looked him right in the eye. And I think he just told him, go make some free throws.
And you see he told his other guys, go get on the line.
That's a big one because now it makes it a 2-possession game. Still a lot of time. And he's made 1 of 4 here at the end. Jackson knocked down in the backcourt. Of course, the clock running during all of this. You only need a 2 here. Jackson going to take it in. Offensive foul. Curtis Allen stepped in and took it. And that's huge.
Washington has different guys stepping up every game, different guys stepping up every play. The senior that hasn't seen as much playing time just take a huge charge.
Curtis Allen, he doesn't score a lot of points, although he's nearing 1,000 points in his career. His role has changed over the years that he's been here. He's been a quiet guy. He's a tremendous kid. I love his presence on the floor, and Lorenzo Romar knows as the only senior that a lot of guys are going to look at him.
Yeah, I think that, you know, Curtis has really held his head. He's really stayed positive. And I think it'll pay off for him. Coming down the stretch, he might find himself in a situation in the Pac-10 tournament and in the Pac-10 season playing a key role for these Washington Huskies.
Nate Robinson 2 for 3 tonight at the line, and now 3 for 4. And you got to feel pretty good about your chances right now. And Nate's going to play to the crowd. These are his people.
This is a huge game for Washington.
He was a star in high school in both basketball and football, and he's come here and done the same thing. He makes them both. Here's Davis to Jackson, pulling the three. It's short, Jensen a rebound, and a backcourt foul with 21 seconds. It's on Luke Jackson, and that's 5 on Luke Jackson, and his night is over. His worst night of the Pac-10 season. He will leave with 11 points.
A credit to Bobby Jones and the terrific defense that he's played. Most nights, Bobby Jones is playing against a 4 or 5, a bigger player. Tonight he got to play against somebody at his natural position, somebody who plays the 3 out on the floor, and he showed what he can do.
Now, Luke Jackson, as a freshman, came here as a freshman and had a triple-double. Oregon won. That was the last time Oregon's won in this building. They lost the last 2 years. And he's done with 11. And now Jensen stands at the free throw line, and he doesn't really have to make these, but if he makes one of them, it would just about ice it.
I can tell you what Washington's going to be doing on Friday practice. Day in between.
Shooting free throws. Shoot and run, shoot and run. He makes it, so it's a 7-point game, and now Oregon needs the ball 3 times. They'll have it here with 13 seconds, but this thing is done. They got to score quickly and then foul. Crosswhite got caught in the air. Davis for 3. That's no good. Anderson watches it go out of bounds. It's Washington's basketball. It's Washington's game. 6.6. They lead by 7. It is done. Washington is going to beat Oregon. And they're going to let it run out. 6 out of 7 for the Dogs.
Nate Robinson puts a little exclamation point on this one.
Well, Nate's got to remember that he's only a sophomore. He's still got to go to Eugene. And they're going to remember that one down there.
I think Ernie Kent just told him, look here, kid, you didn't have to do that.
Washington improves to 11-9. Remember, it's been a long time. I think since, what, 99, since Washington went to the NCAA tournament and had a winning record. And they're on pace for that right now. They even their mark at 6-6 in the conference. That's an amazing feat for a team that started 0-5. And Luke Jackson, it's the last time that he will walk out of here. And now things getting a little ugly at midcourt. Ian Crosswhite and some of the bigs for Oregon getting mixed up with Jensen and some of the bigs of Washington. We told you at the top, they don't like each other, and this isn't going to help it.
It's a rivalry at its best. I think the Oregon players are not happy with the exclamation point that Nate Robinson put on the game.
Eller was like this in football season 2. Some of the Ducks popped off before they came up to Seattle. The Huskies got all fired up and beat them. Down in Eugene, Oregon won the first basketball game, and they split the season series for the 2nd year in a row. That is going to do it for us. For Donald Watts, I'm Jim Watson saying so long from Bank of America Arena.